Welcome to Essential Ingredients, powered by NextGen Purpose. EI serves up thoughtful conversations with industry leaders and pioneers who support a regenerative future for our food system. The stories shared by our guests are meant to spark curiosity and inspire informed global change. Hi, welcome to Essential Ingredients. I'm your host, Justine Reichman. Today with me is Ari. He is CEO and founder of Elo Health. He is a father, a husband, and an entrepreneur. Welcome, Ari.
Thank you. Wonderful to be here.
It is great to have you here. I'm excited to learn a little bit more what you're doing as an entrepreneur, a little bit about your story and how you got here and what you have on your plate and what's new and next for you. So first, tell us a little bit about Elo Health.
Yeah, happy to. So Elo Health is my latest project. I've been working on this for about 2.5 years, but been thinking about it for about 20 years. And the whole idea behind it is that we need to do something about turning food from the cause of disease that is today into medicine. So I'm trying to build a platform, trying to build products that are helping all of us to live healthier, better lives, and maybe even avoid getting sick, and maybe even in the long term reverse the chronic conditions that we might have gotten into, like type 2 diabetes and hypertension, heart disease, and so forth.
So, very important and really good work. I'd love to hear about that. I'd love to hear about some of the research even that you've done, because I can't even imagine the research that you've done. That's what interests me too, because I can't imagine, where that started. But I'd love to hear what inspired you.
Yeah, I'm been in the healthcare problem-solving mode for the last many years. Started over 20 years ago. My wife had a thyroid tumor, a healthy 20-year-old woman who had a big lump in her neck out of nowhere, and that was removed, and luckily there was no deadly or lethal consequences, but other thyroid was partially removed, and that led into autoimmune diseases, many unknowns that we don't really know about. And that was the moment of truth in a way for me, and of course my then girlfriend, future wife, who you don't really think about mortality at that young age when you're 20 something, and we had to do it, and that led us to maybe think about life differently and think about health and nutrition differently. And in our case, after many years of battling with the issues that she had, we couldn't basically get pregnant at all. I mean, there was medication and stuff involved that made it very difficult to get pregnant, and we wanted to kind of overcome that, and tried Western and Eastern medicine, and finally found that diet was the main medicine for her to help her heal her body of the diseases. And I became a big believer in this concept of food and medicine maybe 15 years ago. And that was the beginning for me. And we've been in a type of diet where we eat mainly no grains, no sugar, no added sugar at all, very little meat. And we've been very consistent with that diet. And now I think the science and the literature is telling that type of diet is very good for you. We are not talking about like a keto type of diet necessarily, but low carb type of diet with whole foods and clean ingredients.
Well, yeah, I mean, I eat similarly, not for that same reason, but because I feel better. I feel like I get sick less, and I feel healthier.
Yep.
So I do wish there was more science around all these things, more science that would back it up, so that I think we'd see more doctors and more people doing more around it. So I'm happy to hear about your new project.
And it's an interesting point you mentioned the doctors. I was in a health conference last weekend, HLTH in Las Vegas, and somebody talked about in a panel about the fact that the doctors are among the most unhealthy people, who are getting maybe more even chronic conditions than the average population. And that's kind of bizarre, because at least they know better. But it just means that the system we have built to ourselves and the lifestyle we have, it's very difficult to cope and stay healthy.
I think a lot of the doctors, or a lot of times, the system supports treating the illness, not working to prevent the illness. And now more and more we're seeing doctors work to prevent illness, and they're working on a new system, but it's not where it should be yet. So I think, your new system or your new, what you're working on now is a small piece of that puzzle. And I'm talking to doctors about what they're doing and new research that they're doing to try to amp up so that they can prove the impact that food is having as medicine, because there's just not enough research to prove it, so that they can do more. And the more research they can do, and the more studies that they can show, the greater the impact that they can have.
Yeah, and you mentioned at the beginning the kind of studies that we had to do at Elo, because what we have to do is I think we have to be credible. The first thing we want to do as a company is to gain your trust. If you don't trust what we do, I mean, there's really no way to collaborate. And we are not necessarily telling you what to do, but we are helping you with the right nutrient products to gain power and take, get you in the driver's seat in a way. That's what we try to do. And it's really tough to do in a world where a lot of the science today we have about nutrition is very faulty, and there is not a lot of it. Because, I mean, think about how difficult it is to do a double-blind trial with food. We eat every day, maybe, depending who we are, but 3 to 6 times a day. How do you even track all that food? And then what we often do when we do science in food and nutrition, we ask them later, every once a week or once a day, what did you eat? I mean, we just somehow forget to mention the pizza we had, or the beer we had, or the snack we had, or the candy, or whatever it is, unhealthy stuff. So that's not really listed at all. And then we think, people ate pretty decent diet and they still got sick. And then how do you build another group? Like, how do you do the placebo group, basically? They eat nothing. Like, I mean, it's very hard to do, and it's very expensive. So there are only few studies ever done to humans that are really in a lab environment where people live in a closed setting. The biosphere was one of those. Maybe these reality TV shows are maybe another one where people actually are in a house, they can't leave, and so forth. But it's just a lot of the science we have today is paid by the industry, and nothing wrong with that in a sense. But sometimes they skew. But what I don't like about this is that as we have a payer for studies, that is the industry, they're never going to publish the negative results. So how can we only see positive studies being published mainly? How many negative studies there are that have not been published? I would love to see those studies, because it would help us tremendous as a scientific community to become better at thinking what is the right nutrition and what really works and what does not work for our health.
I couldn't agree more. And I'm really passionate about seeing how we can make that happen, because I think that it's integral to both our wellness and the wellness of the future, right? So we can't just rely on the medications. We have to rely on, our food and where the food is coming from, and how and even, how it's being planted and how it's being taken care of. And so it's so important that we understand this. And I think just not understanding it and not asking the questions and not being educated is not helping. And not understanding the language and the vernacular, because it's a whole nother vocabulary, quite frankly. I mean, I don't know, I can't tell you how many different definitions I have of regenerative and organic and all the different words that are being passed around right now that we all just say we know. But to really understand what this means, and to understand what needs to be used and what doesn't need to be used, and what should we drink, and should it be pasteurized and shouldn't it be pasteurized, and should it be grass-fed, and what does grass finished mean? And I mean, and I can go on, right? So I think it's super important, which leads me to ask you about, Elo Health.
And I think your point is great, because when you go to, I mean, think about it, we all go to a grocery store. Even if you don't, we have an online service. Let's think about eggs. You go to the egg aisle. There's I don't know, 30
Oh
different,
my God.
type of eggs, and they are, some of them are free roaming eggs, some of are cage-free eggs, some are kind of organic eggs, and some are
Right.
none of those. Like, how do you know? And my wife she's super well known. She knows the stuff really well. So she always educates me. Even I'm like, oh, that sounds really great. They're cage-free, but that doesn't mean anything in a way. They have to be free roaming eggs to be even, be decently, the living conditions can be even decent. So that's one example. You need to have like a cheat sheet when you go to any aisle in a grocery store to be able to understand. And that, in my opinion, is the problem possibly, that we made our food system so complicated that we can't comprehend it ourselves. We just buy stuff that we heard about, we saw an ad, it has a lot of space, there's a brand, or the packaging looks nice. That's what we buy, the stuff, and we end up buying it all the time. So what are we trying to do at Elo in a way is to help you make better decisions, empower you to get stuff that you really need, and also test you and understand you before we recommend or you send you stuff. So the early beginning, what we do today is basically blood biomarker based supplements, where we do blood testing in the beginning. We do a health questionnaire. We connect to all these wearable devices like Apple Watch and Whoop and Aura and whatnot you have to understand your activity level. And then we send you supplements in the daily packets that change every month. So we built a system, and then we track your progress every 90 days or every 180 days to make sure that what we gave you actually have an impact in your health and your biomarkers. Sometimes we are surprised that your biomarkers are not improving like we expect. Maybe you have a mutation in your DNA that you don't metabolize vitamin D like I don't in a proper way. So you need to have a bigger dose. Or maybe find out that you are eating a diet that is not good for you. So we pair you with a registered dietitian who will work with you one-on-one to make sure you get not only the right supplements, but you also get the right advice on doing more behavioral change, like changing the way you do breakfast, maybe testing intermittent fasting, maybe not eating after 7 p.m., or maybe just cut away stuff that might be just bad for you. And that's been the beginning. Now we've been running for a couple of years in the marketplace, and the feedback has been really, really exciting. And now we are in a stage where we're starting to add more products. So we have a new product coming out in the coming weeks that is a protein product, similar in a way. It's based on your data and customized to you, made only for you. Every bag is unique. And then we built a system where we can notify you when to do protein, when you don't need to take protein.
Wow, I love that. I want to try it.
Let's make sure you do.
I want to try that. That sounds amazing. I'll hook it up to my iWatch or whatever we call them.
Yeah.
And see what we can do. Because I'd love. So, can you share some of the stories, the positive impacts that you've heard from when people have gotten on the program and tried it?
Yeah, I mean, we have quite a few already. We have tested thousands of people today, and I think the beginning that was surprising to me. So I had this thesis that and I knew from the previous research that many people have issues with their cholesterol. Many of us, most of us, have low HDL cholesterol. High is good on that.
Right.
Many of us, most of us, have high LDL. High is bad. Most of us have low vitamin D. Low vitamin D is this maybe the most important vitamin that we can track and we can easily supplement more. We just don't have enough of it. And then we see a lot of people having issues with inflammation, like homocysteine, like my wife had. And some of the vitamins, minerals. Many women who are vegetarians or vegan, they have low iron. So basically today, when we do the test in the beginning, 90% of people have something on the red or yellow. And most people have multiple areas. I felt super healthy when I started. And of course, my team has put me in a ringer and tested me left and right. My vitamin D was way too low. It was in teens, I think 15 or 13. The ideal value is between 60 and 80. So it took me a year or two to get my levels up. And I had a mutation, like I said, that I don't metabolize vitamin D from the sun like most people do. I lived my part of my life in Finland, in northern Finland, where you have barely any sun in the winter. So think about how low my vitamin D had been in Finland. If even in California, my vitamin D is very low, and I'm out quite a bit. So that was for me. But when I look at other people, the biggest, success stories have been when people have worked directly with the dietitian, the Elo coach, and they've been able to do changes in a way how they do breakfast. Breakfast is this key meal of a day. If you do it wrong and you have a lot of carbs, you're going to end up eating more throughout the day. If you have a high protein breakfast at the right time, you end up eating less. That's a really important factor, because if you every day eat more, you're going to gain the weight over the long time. And I think, biomarker perspective, we are now getting to a level where we can pretty much, help everybody who have low vitamins and minerals. We can help them those, and we can get them fixed. We have a program. We have enough data. We know how to do it. We know what type of metabolizer you are fairly quickly once you start to use the program. A lipid panel, meaning the cholesterol, are a bit more difficult. It takes a bit more time, and it requires usually also some behavior change. And finally, I think the key thing that we will focus on in the long term is going to be A1C. A1C is the type 2 diabetes marker. If you are over 6, you are pre-diabetic. If you are 7, you are diabetic, and many people are already over 7. And then you get into the mode that you're going to be on insulin, you're going to be you're going to be chronically sick and medicated for life. And I think there are a lot of people who can reverse that condition by the right diet. Most people probably could do that.
Wow. So would you look at this as a medical food? Is this in that category of medical food?
I personally don't really like the word medical food, or the context of that, because it feels like medical food you get in a hospital.
Right. No, but there is something called medical food, right?
Yes,
that is a category.
There's a category of and in the nomenclature, that's the one thing people are talking about.
Right.
I like to talk more about
Food as medicine.
And we at Elo, we want to call this smart nutrition.
So
in a way, like we have a smart watch, we have a smartphone, we have a smart car, we have a smart home.
Smart nutrition. Okay, got it.
Smart nutrition. If you think about it, and you might not have heard about it before, but if you think about it, it's basically nutrition made like the tech today. What it does, what every smart category is, it is personalized to you. Think about your phone. It's like the most personal device you have. You download the apps. It's your content, your photos. So same thing for the nutrition. Like, can we make it personalized, make it for you? Like we do the Elo packs every day. They are made for you, custom to you. Elo protein made for you. Elo future like meals are going to be made for you with your name on top.
I like that.
That's first. The second one is precise. Think about like your smart car or your Tesla. It's super precise. Like it can drive itself. Like there's a lot of science behind it. Right. So precise for us at Elo means that the nutrition is grounded in the latest science. We're not going to give you something that is not real. We're not going to give you, if there's one study done, we only give you products that there's more than 50 studies, there are meta studies, and we give you the right dose and the right timing and so forth. That's the idea with the precise. And lastly, maybe the most new thing is proactive. So the smart nutrition is proactive to you in a way that it gets better over time. It gets not only better to optimize for your health and your body, it also gets tastier. That's the whole idea. Like, because how often when you have meals, for example, how many times anyone will ask you, did you like this meal? Maybe your mom does, but not many people do. Like in a restaurant, they always ask, did you like the pasta? You always say yes. Sometimes they're like, crap. But not very good. But you're never gonna, and that word will never go back to the chef, and will never change the product next time. What if we could actually improve it? Too salty, too big. Never want to have these, cilantro ever again. So what if we could do that? So that's what we do: smart nutrition, personalized, precise, and proactive.
I like that. I think it's very smart. There's nothing else out there that I know of like it. Do you have anybody else that you see out there doing anything similar?
There are a few companies now who are starting to do this, because blood testing after COVID and during COVID became more normal to do at home, and the cost is going down quickly, and the accuracy is getting up. So it's really improving very, very quickly now. And I think, this idea that you can now produce food and nutrition in a different way. You can partner, you have this API. So, I mean, we are probably the first company now in the world who has combined all of this stuff together with the coaching and multiple products. So we're the first ones, but there are other companies who are starting to do this. And but I mean, I think I'm the one who's trying to coin here a new term about smart nutrition. And long time ago in my past life, I remember vividly when I was at that Nokia, the small Finnish cell phone company. And I think I was in a room in head office somewhere, and we were talking about when they were launching the first device in '95, the first smartphone back in the days, like before iPhone and before Android. And I think they had in a wall the word smartphone, but they in the end picked up a mobile computer and they called them mobile computers. And that was a mistake. So I don't want to make the same mistake twice.
Right. No, I like smart food. I like smart nutrition. I think smart food is really good. I like that one. You're using that one, right?
Yeah. So basically, my this is smart nutrition, the supplements, but in the fact we say smart supplements. In the protein, we say smart protein. So smart food will be absolutely smart food. And I mean, wouldn't you like to have food or supplements or protein that is smart? I mean, I think it's a good idea.
I think it's very smart.
I agree.
I think it's very smart.
But it's up to the people to make a decision. So I mean, I'm just it's all about telling a story that people can understand and relate to. And I mean, I'm all trying to hear feedback from people, and we have gotten a ton of feedback already on like some people like it, some people don't like it.
Well, I mean, we're here just to share the information so people can make more informed choices, really.
Totally.
And from what I'm hearing, I think it would be a smart choice, but that's just my opinion.
But
I want to try it first before I actually make that opinion. So I have to try it first.
You have to try it first. And I mean, everybody else listening, take a trial. I mean,
I'm gonna take.
and give me the feedback. I'm happy to make it better.
You do trials? I want to do a trial.
Yep, you can get the trial. I can.
Okay, I want to do the trial.
But like, I mean, I spent the last decade of my life on working in another problem in healthcare that is also a very big problem, and that was about access to care. How do you find the right doctor? How do you build a better doctor network if you are a hospital or health plan or whatnot? And I mean, I realized it early on when we started that those companies, that it was all about giving people more transparency. Because people in healthcare, you just don't have the information in your hands. And think about, like, you go to Amazon and you look at the new toaster, or like, let's say vacuum cleaner. We bought a new vacuum cleaner. There's like 500 choices. And there's like, you found the one that has like 18,000 reviews. And there's like like hundreds of pages of comments and stuff and reviews and all this stuff. And then you're going to buy a product of nutrition, or you not even talk about the doctor who will cut you open, and you only have like one review on Yelp. Like, that kind of sucks. So we were trying to build a better system to find the right doctor for you. And now I think we are doing the same thing a little bit in the world of nutrition and stuff like that. Of course, there's maybe equal amount. There are a million doctors out there in the US. There are probably a million different, ways to have nutrition the right way. So equally complicated.
Well, and I think that healthcare has become more difficult to navigate, as has nutrition, because we have a whole new vocabulary. And the healthcare system has changed. I mean, when I lived in New York over 8 years ago, I had my doctors, I knew where I was going, and I knew how to navigate it. But somehow I moved to California, I can't navigate it, I can't find a doctor, and I don't know what I'm doing, which really puts me at a disadvantage. Because if I don't know how to navigate and I can't find the doctors, then my care is I'm at a disadvantage because I can't take care of myself. I don't know how to go get those. I don't know where to go get those checkups. And that's not who I am. I'm used to knowing how to get those things. And it's the same thing with the food. If we don't understand the language that we're speaking, then how do we know how to get greater access to healthy food? How do we know what to buy? How do we know what to put in our bodies? So I think breaking down the vocabulary and just giving people access to this information, we really give them a chance to have a better opportunity to make a more informed choice.
I
And
couldn't agree more.
and that's what we're trying to do here, right?
Totally.
So I'm so glad that you shared that. So you've done a lot of really amazing things in this space, from healthcare to food, and it all really comes down to giving people an opportunity to be healthier, make more informed choices. So, what's new and what's next for Elo? Is it Elo or Elo? Elo, right?
It's Elo, hello.
Elo, sorry, I apologize. Elo. Okay, what's new and what's next for Elo?
Yeah, so the part of the Elo, it means life in my native Finnish language. So that's why we call it. And it's a good name because it's all about life in a way in the end. So the second product we have had these supplements now in the market for about 2 years. We did like a 1 year long beta program that was very small, Vitrio. Nobody knew about it. And then last year we've been going out to market and we're adding hundreds of people a week now signing up. So it's pretty good. I mean, people like it, and we are seeing a lot of people who really like the idea of having a coach in your corner. So you can use the Elo app and you can communicate with your dietitian every day if you want. You can send a photo of a product. You can do, people do crazy stuff at times. But the point is that, they really like the fact that there's somebody looking after them. And that's been a big surprise to me because I'm not that kind of person. I feel like I'm not often very good at asking help, and some people are much better than me, and they've really been able to use our team super effectively to have really great outcomes. So the second product that we've been now working for a year is called Smart Protein, that I already mentioned briefly, and I think it's super interesting. It's basically a product that you don't need to do blood testing if you don't want. So you can just go to Elo website and you can buy it. Only thing you have to do is to have an iPhone. So you can connect Elo app with your health data. Think about your Apple Watch or your Whoop band or your Aura or whatever. And then if you are recording your workouts, as many people are, like you can use Strava, you can use Peloton, Tonal, whatever you do, almost any device is connecting to Apple Health today. You can do the connection, and then we design the right protein blend for you to optimize your recovery. And I think most of us know that, who use protein powder or protein products, they actually do work really well. You're going to feel less sore, you're going to gain more muscle. And if you time it right, it really has a huge impact on your performance. So at Elo, we wanted to do like the custom specific, the best blend of protein we can do. We can do vegan, we can do whey protein, we can do different taste. And then we customize the blend of amino acids for you only. And then the next thing we do that I really like, and I've been thinking for a long time, and we finally built it now, is basically this ability that you do a training. You go do a bike ride on a Strava, you do your Peloton ride, you're gonna go and do a run, or you can do a heat exercise on Apple Fitness or whatever. And you record that with your device. And then you open the Elo app, it will tell you automatically how much protein you need when.
Wow,
and
smart.
that's something really unique that now we have, like, top athletes and sport teams are calling us and like, hey, can we sign up, because they don't even have this ability. And we often forget to take the protein, and we often take too much, or sometimes we take way too much protein, and that can have a negative effect on your health. Like, you can initiate muscle growth or recovery, or you can even initiate, cancer growth if you do it wrong.
Wow, that seems very smart, and I hate to use the word again, but smart.
I'm super excited. I mean, I've been using this now for 6 months, and I mean, it's part of my life now.
Right.
And we have had, I don't know, 100 people who've been using it, and the feedback has been amazing. So I can't wait to get it out to everybody.
So I'm curious, how old are your kids?
My kids are 4 and 8.
Okay, so you don't feed it to your children.
Sometimes again,
are they too young for this? Is my question.
Well, I do a lot of rock climbing with my son, and I often take my protein. I do it after the climbing when I know my dosing, and he often wants to have the kind of the last sip of it. And I have nothing that is too strong for him, but I mean, of course, it's not going to have like a full on protein shake, but he can have a little bit at but the great thing is that he has been, and my daughter also has been helping me to get the right taste. Because if the taste, if the 8 and the 4-year-old says this is amazingly good and they want to drink it, there's something good going on, because some of the protein powders don't taste great. And I always do it on water when I do my training. I also use it in the breakfast, by the way, when I do a smoothie with, avocado and blueberries and stuff like that. And that's always delicious. But sometimes when you get protein powder mixed with water, it can be kind of nasty.
To say the least, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm so glad that I got to learn all about this. I'm super excited. I can't wait to try it. And for those listening and watching, where can they find it and how can they try it?
Yeah, easy to find. Elo Health is to go to our website. It's elo.health. Not .com, but .health. Sometimes we make the mistake. And you can also find us on Instagram and any other social medium. And I'm easy to find as well. Ari Tulla. I think I'm the only one with my name. So if you go Google my name, like the first 50 pages is me.
Well, thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to have you on again because there's so much more to talk to you about. But for the moment, congratulations on this, and I'm excited to follow along and see what else comes about
Thank you for having
Elo.
me. Thanks.
So thanks so much. To learn more about these episodes and access show notes, go to nextgenpurpose.com and choose podcast. If you like this episode, head to Apple Podcasts or your favorite platform to subscribe and leave us a review. Visit the Next Gen Purpose YouTube channel to subscribe to our EI videocast and give this episode a like while you're there. Follow us on Instagram and LinkedIn at Next Gen Purpose and connect with me on LinkedIn or Instagram at Justine_Reichman. Thanks for joining us.